Hi, I'm Brandon Reyes with TRU Ball Release and AXCEL Sights, and I've got one of the newest releases to ever hit the market, totally unique, and it's a Signature Series model that I'm going to show you today. So, the Signature Series that I'm referencing is Jeff Hopkins. Jeff Hopkins has worked with our engineer, Mark Rentz, to design one of the most unique releases that we've ever designed or come up with. So, I'm going to show you the new Go2 release. This particular release, as you can see, is very thin. It's probably the thinnest release we've ever designed, but it's a trigger activated release. So you trigger the bow by either pinky or index finger. The index finger is probably the most unique part about this. So in that, you can only activate either the index or the pinky independently. You cannot activate or have both activated at the same time. So I'm going to kind of run through how each works, the lock screws for each, and also the way to change it as far as size is concerned. So as I mentioned, this is the Go2. I've currently got it set on a pinky activated mode. So when I manually close the bail on my D-loop and draw the bow, the thumb button is nothing but a lever. So you can put as much pressure on it as you want, but when you activate or apply pressure to the pinky, that is what's going to fire the release in that mode. So the pinky mode has a sensitivity adjustment on the back here. So again, you're compressing a spring, so you're going to compress the spring for more pressure and loosen the spring counterclockwise for less pressure. And then you also have, with a smaller 50 thousandths Allen wrench, an adjustment for travel for that particular release. So much like the goat, the travel and sensitivity on the pinky in the way you have it set is not affected by the travel and sensitivity on the index finger. So now I'll show you the index has its travel and sensitivity. The top one is going to be the sensitivity. So again, more pressure in, less pressure counterclockwise. And on the sensitivity, and on the travel, less travel is going to be in and more is going to be out or counterclockwise. So those are the adjustments for each. Now this release is very simple to change from one mode to the other, and you'll see as I flip the release over, I currently have a set screw, again much like the goat, in a activated position. So I'm going to turn it clockwise to lock the index out, and I'm going to turn the index finger counterclockwise to lock it out. And you're going all the way in one direction to do that. So now as I cock the release and set it, I'm going to close my bail onto my loop. And now my index is going to be activated. So it's very important to keep your finger away from that because it will fire, and I'm sure it will happen. So we have implemented a index finger rest here. You can see it's kind of knurled right near the bail hook. So that is a position that you can actually draw with your finger on to ensure that it stays away from the trigger until you get to your full draw position. Again, the thumb barrel is doing nothing but a rest. And I strongly suggest, if you're using it in the index finger mode, to keep your thumb on that barrel and your index finger on the rest. And then when you're ready to fire and you get it to full draw, bring your finger over to the trigger to where you feel it and start squeezing. And I have just activated it with the index. So to switch it back, you simply just take the set screw that we just changed and do the reverse opposite of what I just did to take it back to the pinky. So it's very simple. It's literally just a couple seconds to switch modes. Most people are going to use it in one mode or the other and probably not switch back and forth because, you know, unlike the goat, you're not going from a totally different method of shooting. You're shooting either trigger index or trigger pinky as opposed to back tension and thumb activated. So it's kind of a cool design with two different methods of firing it, but you're still firing it. So I'm going to go over a couple other quick little features on this particular model. The thumb lever, as I mentioned, it's going to be important for you to get that in the proper position when you're drawing it with your finger on the index location here that we have. So this particular model just slides in and out. And then we have our new offset knurled thumb knob to where you can actually slide it in different locations before tightening it up. And then you also have 2 additional holes to choose from if you need more reach or less reach. So when you loosen this screw, you can slide it in and out and also pivot it into different locations to your desire, and then lock it down wherever you should desire. Another cool feature is it's not shown on this prototype, but between the 2 screws on the back side of the release here, there will be a tab for a lanyard. That's important, I think, with this release being something totally unique and new. You'll want to have that on there so the release stays hooked to your wrist and doesn't go crashing through your bow, because we all know 90% of them, if they're let go, they go forward and hit your bow. So that will prevent that. That will be on all production models. The only other cool feature that I want to conclude with is, as you can see, there's a gray insert here. Now this finger insert changes the size of your release. So right now the gray is a medium, and as you can see on the table here, I have a red, which is a small, and a black, with which is a large hole size. So you're going to get all 3 of those hole sizes with the purchase of your Go2 release to change it to your setting or to your liking. So I'm going to quickly run through on how to change that out. It's very simple, and show you how to change it. I'm going to go from a medium gray to a black large. So I'm going to loosen, there's 3 socket head screws that you're going to take out, and they're real small, so pardon me and the time it takes to get them out, but we'll do that as quick as possible. And when I get them apart and get it taken apart, the 2 halves apart, you'll see that there is a tab, and that tab helps us identify and get it in the proper position. You can kind of see this little cutout. That's what I'm referring to. That's where the finger comes by, so we'll be able to quickly reference where it needs to go when reinstalling the larger, in this case. So located that little tab, and it should go right here, right where your finger is coming through. There you go. Same way with this one. And then install our 3 socket head screws and tighten them down. So now I've increased the size of the hole approximately 1/8 of an inch. We generally keep our smalls around 7/8 of an inch in diameter, the mediums in a 1 inch, and the large in a 1 1/8 inch hole size. And that's going from side to side. So now, with all 3 screws tight, I've changed my release to the black insert, which is now a large. And as I can tell just from shooting that one just a moment ago, I can actually slide my finger all the way in, where I couldn't do that with the medium. It all depends on where you want to hold the handle, on which insert you want to choose for your release. So this is the new Go2 Jeff Hopkins Signature Series release. It is a pinky or a thumb activated trigger, one or the other, with a lot of adjustability. It'll have a lanyard. You have to manually close the jaw, but it's something very unique, and I think people are really going to like it. For both methods of shooting, there's always somebody that needs that extra, and they don't quite know what it is, but I think this new index handheld version may be just that. So for more information about the Go2, check us out at www.truball.com or any of our social media platforms.